Have you ever been tired enough that doing something you actually want to do still feels like work? Not just sleepy. I'm talking about you want to see your friends, you want to clean your house, you want to get dinner made, you want to exercise, you want to take care of yourself, you want to be productive. You might even be sitting there thinking, why can't I just get up and do it? But somehow your brain is saying yes, and your body is saying absolutely not. I've been thinking about this a lot lately because I've experienced it myself. And for somebody like me who has lived with multiple sclerosis for about 20 years, it becomes really easy to put everything into one bucket. I'm tired because I have MS. My brain isn't working because I have MS. My body feels weird because I have MS. But lately, I've been asking a different question. What if, instead of simply asking what's wrong with my body, I started paying attention to what my body has been trying to tell me? Because exhaustion isn't always just about sleep. Brain fog isn't always just about motivation. Feeling overwhelmed isn't necessarily laziness. And even skincare routine isn't necessarily vanity. Sometimes all of these things are little pieces of a much bigger conversation about how we're actually living. So today, I want to have that conversation with you. Not as someone sitting here pretending I've perfected health. I haven't. I want to talk to you as a health coach, as a woman approaching 40 in just a few months, as a mom, and as somebody who has spent almost 2 decades living in a body that honestly has forced me to pay attention. We are going to talk about fatigue, stress, your nervous system, food, fasting, vitamins, autoimmune disease, caffeine, sleep, self-care, and yes, even skincare. Because I think we've separated all these things into different little boxes when they're actually happening to the same human being. You or me. It's just us. And if you've been feeling tired, wired, foggy, overwhelmed, just disconnected from yourself, or like you're somehow failing at taking care of yourself, please stay with me because I think this conversation is for you. You're the one I'm looking to talk to. So, for part one, let's start with why I thought that tired meant I needed more energy. For years, I thought fatigue was pretty simple, right? You're tired, you need energy. So what do? We reach for caffeine and we push ourselves and we tell ourselves to get moving and we try to be more motivated and to watch another productivity video and we make another list. I am the queen of lists. Like I always have my notebook and I think that's a good thing. It's not bad to make lists because sometimes those things really do help. But there is a kind of exhaustion that isn't fixed by just telling yourself to try harder. I've experienced days where technically I could do something, like I'm walking, I'm talking, I'm functioning, I'm actually doing remarkably well. Nobody looking at me would necessarily know that I have MS or that anything is even wrong. And yet, the amounts of effort required to do something incredibly ordinary, it can just feel so enormous. That's something I think that people live with people who live with chronic illness, I mean, they understand really well. You can look fine and still be really working incredibly hard just to function. And MS taught me that lesson very early on. I was actually only about 21 when my life changed. I had a baby. I had planned for her. I was so excited. She was so cute. She has red hair and little blue eyes. And I was young. I was a young mom, but I had always dreamed of being a mom and I wanted to have my kids young. I had my entire future ahead of me. And suddenly, I'm sitting in a neurologist's office being examined and eventually seeing those white spots, those lesions on an MRI image. You know what I'm talking about? And I was told what my future could potentially look like what I needed to plan for and expect. They were trying to help me prepare. But the future I needed to prepare for, or was told to, was disability, severe mobility problems, probably going to need a wheelchair in the near future. And at the time I was 20, 21, right? Like just barely. And yet here I am approaching 40 and I'm still walking. I came down these stairs today to do this video. I'm raising my family. I'm working. I'm recording YouTube videos. I'm living my life and I'm incredibly grateful for it. But there's another side of chronic illness that isn't always as dramatic as the diagnosis. It's the daily negotiation with your body. Like, how much energy do I have today? What can I do? Like, what needs to wait? Why am I foggy? Like, why does everything suddenly feel harder today? And lately I've realized something. Those aren't only questions for people with MS. A lot of people are asking them. Honestly, most of the people that I have coached with, like the patients that have come into the clinic to meet with me, and a lot of them don't have MS. Honestly, I've only worked with a couple people that had MS specifically, but the same things that I'm going through, I've seen a lot of people are experiencing, even though they don't specifically have MS. So why does everyone feel so overwhelmed? Ugh, look at modern life for just a minute. We wake up and often immediately look at our screen, right? We're looking, notifications, texts, check the weather, check the news, social media, work, kids, calendar. We got to make sure, like, what are the kids? What are the, there's always, I say kids a lot because I have 7 of them, only 3 that are still at home because 4 of them have already gone off to college and work and what kids do, they grow up. But kids, schedules, finances, relationships, health, and we're told we should optimize ourselves. One of my kids, he's 19, 20. It's hard to keep track sometimes, but one of the ones in the middle, he's trying to what's it called? Something max. He's trying to max out though. Like he wants to be the very best. And he even asked me a few days ago, should I just eat chicken breast? Because I read something and it says it's the best. And I want to confirm, will I do better if I just eat chicken breast? And he was truly intending to just survive on nothing but chicken breast for an extended period of time. I don't recommend that. I don't. But for him, he was trying to maximize and he read something. And so I guess some people are eating just chicken breast alone. Okay, that's extreme. That's extreme. So I'm not saying to do that. We need to eat enough protein though. We really do. We need to get enough sleep. We need to drink enough water. We do need to take the right supplements and work out and meditate and meal prep and keep the house clean and be present with our families and maintain friendships. And remember, get your 8 hours of sleep. Like I started with, get enough sleep, get enough sleep. How many times you're always hearing it, right? Ooh, also, apparently we should have good skin while we do it. Let's do that too. I mean, no wonder people are feeling so overwhelmed. And this is where the conversation about the nervous system has become so interesting to me. Your nervous system isn't some trendy wellness invention. It is biology. Your body has systems that are designed to respond to challenge and systems involved in recovery and restoration. When something requires action, your body can mobilize resources. That's so useful. You want that ability. So, stress isn't inherently evil. Cortisol also isn't inherently evil either. Cortisol is an important hormone and we need it. So when you see somebody online telling you that every symptom you have means your cortisol is toxic or that one drink is going to flush the cortisol out of your body, please be careful, my friend. Human physiology is more complicated than that. The problem isn't that your body has a stress response. The question is, does your life regularly give your body opportunities to recover? Does it? Because some of us have gotten incredibly good at the first part. Go, push, solve, respond, consume, do it, do it. But we aren't very good at the second part, which is rest, digest, sleep, recover, have some quiet time. Just quiet time, yes. Eat nourishing food. Spend time outside. Like connect with the earth. Connect with the ground, bare feet if you can, or socks. I mean, but connect with the earth. Pray. I am Christian. I do believe in God, and I have felt the blessing and presence of God in my life. Connect with your creator. Pray to whoever that is for you. Take a walk, spend some time with people that we love. I mean, sometimes doing absolutely nothing productive is good for us. And I think we've started treating recovery like something we have to earn, and we don't. So, the strange experience of wanting to do something, but not wanting to do it, I want to talk about that again. This is one of those strange feelings, right? You know what I'm talking about. You have felt it. You can genuinely want something and simultaneously, so at the same time, you feel like you cannot make yourself do it. Maybe a friend invites you somewhere. You love this person and you want to go, but suddenly getting dressed feels exhausting. You just got home from work and you're gonna, you might maybe want to freshen up, especially if you did a long shift and now you got to shower first, or you're not even gonna feel good. That's just, and you know what? I bet it's a 20-minute drive and your drive home, you got stuck in traffic. It's just too much. And talking, then you're gonna have to talk. And she's gonna wanna know about that thing you don't really wanna talk about, but maybe like so you start negotiating with yourself, my friend. I get it, because 'cause I've done it, I've been there. And then you ask, "What's wrong with me? Why am I being so antisocial? Like, why can't I just enjoy things like I used to?" For people living with chronic illness, this can become especially complicated because physical fatigue can start changing your actual behavior. You decline an invitation and then another. And then you stop making plans because you don't know how you're even going to feel. And over time, somebody who never intended to isolate themselves can become increasingly isolated. And that's something I understand differently now than I did when I was younger. I used to think chronic illness isolated people, mainly because eventually they physically couldn't participate. Like they couldn't drive anymore. They couldn't, like, it was just a hassle. And so they just weren't. And yes, physical limitations absolutely can contribute. But I think there's another layer. Sometimes you're exhausted long before you're physically incapable. Sometimes participating costs more energy than other people might realize. And that doesn't mean we should surrender our lives to fatigue. Quite the opposite. It means we need to understand what we're working with. Because if you understand the problem differently, you can respond differently. Your body doesn't experience your life in categories. So, this is probably the biggest idea I want to remember, or I want you to remember from this video. Your body doesn't experience your life in categories. YouTube does, the bookstore does, the doctor's office sometimes does. We have categories called nutrition, mental health, skincare, fitness, autoimmune disease or hormones, sleep, stress, beauty. But your body doesn't say, oh, this stress belongs in the mental health folder. Let's file it there. And this meal goes into nutrition. Let's put it here. And then this sleepless night, that was kind of a little extra. So let's put it back here so we don't have to look at it. And then this autoimmune disease, it belongs, let's see, let's put it right in here. No, no. It's all happening to one body. Your skin is part of that body. Your brain is part of that body. Your digestive system is part of that body. Your immune system is part of the body. And this is one reason I've become so passionate about whole person health. It doesn't mean believing that one lifestyle trick cures every disease. It doesn't. It means understanding that the conditions we create around our bodies matter. So let's talk about food. Are you giving your body material to work with? We've got to talk about nutrition. Your body needs raw materials: protein, essential fats, carbohydrates, vitamins, minerals, fiber, water, energy. And when life gets busy, food is one of the first things that can become chaotic. We skip meals, grab whatever is available, drink caffeine, then more caffeine, and then realize it's late afternoon and we haven't really eaten. I've had to confront this in my own life because knowing what good nutrition looks like and consistently doing it are not the same thing. I can teach nutrition, I can understand vitamins, I can understand fasting, and I can still have days when I need to look at myself and say, Rebecca, you need to eat. Knowledge doesn't make us immune to being human. And this is important because sometimes wellness culture makes people believe that eating less is automatically healthier. It isn't. Sometimes the healthier choice is fasting. Sometimes the healthier choice is eating. Context matters. If you're chronically underfueling your body, exhausted, losing weight unintentionally, or struggling to get adequate nutrition, this isn't the moment to compete with somebody online over who can fast the longest. Your body needs nourishment too. So then why do I talk so much about fasting? Because fasting has been one of the most meaningful tools in my personal health journey. But I want you to understand what I mean when I say fasting. I don't think of fasting as punishment. I don't think I ate something bad yesterday, so I'm not allowed to eat today. No, and I don't primarily think of fasting as a way to make myself smaller. No, for me, fasting is a period of time without food. It can create a metabolic shift. Insulin falls, and the body begins relying more heavily on stored energy. And depending on duration, like how long and the circumstance of the fast, other cellular adaptations occur as well. But fasting isn't magic, and more is not automatically better. Your age matters, your health matters, your medications matter, pregnancy matters, your nutritional status matters, and a history of eating disorders matter. So please be honest with yourself, my friend. Your individual circumstances do matter. There are people who should not undertake extended fasting without medical supervision. And there are situations where fasting may not be right at all. It just might not. What I love about fasting is the concept of rhythm. So we can experiment with it: eating, not eating, activity, recovery, feasting, and rest. Our bodies were never designed around the idea that if something is beneficial, we must do it constantly. No. And I think that principle, it extends beyond food. No, maybe health is rhythm, not perfection. Think about this. Your heart beats. It does. And then it rests, only for like a fraction of a second, right? It beats, rest, beats, rest, beats, rest, right? And your breath, it works in a similar way. You breathe in, breathe out, take a breath. And then breathe out. Like it's a pattern. You can't change it. You could, I guess, change the speed or the length or how, but you have to breathe in, breathe out. The pattern is required. You're awake, then you're asleep. You eat, then you digest. You work, then ideally you recover. Nature itself works in rhythms, day and night, seasons, growth, and dormancy, like when the plants are just resting. And I believe there is wisdom in that. Spiritually, I've really come to appreciate the idea of rest more as I've gotten older too. There are definitely times for work and there are times for preparation. And there are times when rest isn't laziness, it's stewardship. God didn't design human beings as machines. We're just not. And yet sometimes we treat ourselves like a broken machine whenever our bodies ask us to slow down. So next, I want to talk about vitamins and supplements. It's a place where the internet goes to extremes. One side says supplements are useless and the other side makes it sound like you need 47 bottles before breakfast. And I don't believe either extreme is particularly helpful. Food comes first, but nutrients matter. Deficiencies matter. And depending on your diet, health circumstances, your medications, your lab results, just your stage of life, there's so many factors that can affect it, but supplementation in general can be useful. The key word is supplement, though. It's supposed to supplement something, not replace eating, not replace sleep, not replace medical care, not compensate for every other part of your life. You can eat junk because you take good vitamins. No, 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 no. It just can't compensate for every part of your life. I'm serious when I say that. I've joked about my vitamin bucket. Might have seen my pink vitamin bucket because supplement routine can get ridiculous. It can just feel like so much because you buy something because somebody says it's amazing and then another thing and then another thing. And soon you've got a bucket full of bottles and you can't remember which one you're supposed to take when. That's not health. That's clutter with capsules. I want to be more intentional and help you as well. So let's consider, what do I actually need? What does evidence support? What am I consistently getting from my food? And if I'm honest with myself, what might I be missing? And when appropriate, what do my labs show? Get labs if you can and test your nutritional levels. See where they're at if you're able to. That is a much more grounded way of approaching supplementation, is actually seeing what is low and what could be improved. And if you want more help with this and you have MS, please check out my book, Finally Understand Multiple Sclerosis. I break down all of the nutrients, all of the vitamins that will help you and have an impact and where you can get it from food and from supplementation and what time of day and which one should be taken together and not. Like there's a lot that can go into it. So get my book. This is a paper copy. You can get it on Amazon. You can also get it in ebook. It's very affordable and will be very helpful to you, my friend. The link is below, like I said. All right, I also want to talk about the caffeine trap. We're getting personal here because what happens when you're tired? You reach for energy. Caffeine can absolutely improve alertness. There's nothing inherently immoral or unhealthy specifically about having caffeine. But caffeine can also become a way of borrowing alertness from a body that's asking for something else. And honestly, I have to watch myself. I am Ooh, I'm guilty of this. Because when you're exhausted and you have things to accomplish, it's so tempting. Caffeine, and then maybe more caffeine. And suddenly you have enough stimulation to make yourself move. You're going. But have you actually addressed why you were exhausted? Maybe not. Sometimes the answer really is I didn't sleep enough, or I haven't eaten enough, or I've just been so overstimulated today with just so much coming at me constantly, or like stressed. Like stress can just be part of that, or I'm dehydrated, or I need movement, or I need sunlight, or something medically is going on and I need to stop trying to biohack my way around it. That last one matters. That's the word I was trying to think of earlier. That my son is trying to like biohack himself into ultimate. But fatigue, it can be associated with such a huge number of things like anemia, if your iron's low, or thyroid problems. Like my daughter, my youngest daughter, she is anemic. Like we're working on it and nutritionally trying to address it. And she takes iron. And like there's a whole host of things we're working on to try and get that up. But it does make her tired. Um, my youngest son, he just turned 14. He has a unspecified nodular thyroid disease. Um, but he's so young and we're trying to figure it out and we're learning. And so that's going to be a whole nother series I'm going to do. And I have a book about that too. If you're interested or need help or you're curious, you're trying to figure out your thyroid, please check out my book. It's only available in ebook right now. But it's on Amazon and I'll put the link down below for you in the description. There's also sleep disorders. I do have MS, but I also have sleep apnea, which was diagnosed from I did some sleep studies and I do have it, right? In addition to the MS. And people get infections and then medication effects, just like side effects and nutritional deficiencies, depression and autoimmune conditions definitely can cause fatigue, but there's so many others. So please don't hear this video and diagnose yourself with nervous system dysregulation. That's not what I'm asking you to do. I'm asking you to become curious. I want to talk also about brain fog, that it's a message, not a personality defect. Brain fog, ugh, we're going to talk about it because I hate it. When my brain is working well, I have ideas constantly and I want to create and I want to learn and I want to talk and then there are those moments where I know what I'm trying to say and the word just poof. I'm like, what? What was that? What was I thinking? What was I going to say? I mean, I'm sure you guys have caught me do it. On these videos because I get caught on camera. Or I'll walk into a room and I'll be like, why did I even come in here? Was I trying to find a pen? I don't, I don't know. Or I'll start doing something and just lose the thread. Like brain fog, it can yeah, it really can accompany a lot of different circumstances and health conditions. Like for someone with MS, cognitive changes can also be a part of the disease. So I do take it very seriously. But what I don't want to do anymore is turn every difficult day into a character judgment. Like, ugh, I'm just getting stupid, or I'm just lazy, or why can't I just figure this out? What is wrong with me? Like, I'm just so useless, right? Do you ever feel that way? Because I do. I have those days. I have those moments. I have those seasons, especially during a relapse. Like it's real and it's frustrating. But a symptom like that, because that's what brain fog is, it's a symptom. It deserves investigation, not shame. It's an enormous difference. There's a huge distinction there. Investigate, investigation, not shame. Write it down. If you're taking notes, write it down. All right. Now let's talk about something that seems completely different, but it's still connected. So stay with me. It's your skin. You might be wondering, Rebecca, how in the world? What? How are we going from MS and nervous systems and fatigue to skincare? They even say, don't jump around in your videos. But remember what I said earlier. It's the same body. It's all connected. Your skin changes as you age. Collagen changes, elasticity changes, oil production can change. Sun exposure is accumulating and hormonal changes, they matter too. Genetics matter, your environment matters, and taking care of your skin is one small way of caring for the body you're living in. I'm approaching 40. I don't want to look 20. I've said this before and I mean it. I don't think beauty and youth are synonyms. They're not. They are not interchangeable. They're not the same thing. I don't want to erase every sign that I've lived, but I do want healthy skin. I want hydrated skin. I want to protect my skin and I want to age well. And that's part of why I've been talking about Jafra on this channel. I've used Jafra products for decades because they were part of my life long before I ever had a YouTube channel. My mom has used and shared Jafra for like 50 years. So when I talk about skincare here, it isn't me suddenly deciding what You Are Worth It Health needs to become a beauty channel. Nope, that's not it. Skincare fits into the same philosophy. Care for the body that you have, not because you're ashamed of it or worried about looking older. It's because you're responsible for it. Self-care has become a marketing term, but the idea matters. Self-care isn't just candles and meditation. It's not buying something every time you're stressed. Sometimes self-care is extremely unglamorous, like going to bed on time or early, remembering to eat lunch and choosing the healthier option, taking your medication or your supplements, calling your doctor if you need to, taking a shower. Sometimes it's hard. Washing your face and then putting on some moisturizer so you feel like you can breathe or your skin can, I mean. Going outside, turning your phone off, saying no or saying yes to somebody you love and something you've been wanting to say yes to. Take your vitamins if you need them and drink water. Moving your body. Make an appointment you've been avoiding. Sitting quietly with God. Resting without spending the entire time feeling guilty because you're not accomplishing something. Those are all self-care. And yes, sometimes it's putting a beautiful face oil on at night and enjoying how it feels, like I said. Both things can be true. So I want to tell you what I'm changing in my life, what I'm actually doing with all of this information I share with you. I'm trying to stop treating every symptom or wrinkle as an obstacle that needs to be silenced or erased. I'm trying to listen first and pay attention. If I'm exhausted, why? Like, did I eat? Did I sleep? How much caffeine have I had? Have I been inside all day? Have I moved? Am I emotionally overwhelmed? Have I been scrolling for a long time? Is this my MS? Or is it my MS acting differently? Is this something persistent enough that it needs medical attention? It's very different from what's wrong with you? What's wrong with me? Why can't I get anything done? Right? I'm also prioritizing nourishment, real food, protein, plants, healthy fats, fiber, micronutrients, not perfection, just nourishment more often than not. I'm becoming more thoughtful about fasting rather than just automatically assuming that longer equals better. And I'm trying to be more consistent and intentional with supplements rather than just collecting bottles. I'm paying attention to my sleep and I'm paying attention to my stimulation. How much am I stimulating my body? How much am I asking from my dopamine and my serotonin and my hormones that keep me balanced? I'm also paying attention to my skin and I'm paying attention to my relationships, and I'm paying attention to my spiritual health. And I'm trying to create space where my body doesn't constantly have to perform. I want to give you a simple reset that you can start today. I don't want you to finish this video with 27 new rules. That would defeat the entire point. So here's what I want you to do. For the next 7 days, become a scientist of your own life. Don't diagnose yourself. Observe yourself. Each day, I want you to ask, how did I sleep? What did I eat? Did I eat enough? How much caffeine did I use? Did I move my body? Did I go outside? How much time did I spend staring at a screen? Did I experience genuine rest? How is my mood? How is my energy? How is my digestion? How is my brain functioning? How does my body actually feel? And here's the most important question. What does my body seem to be asking me for? Write that one down and answer it. Maybe it's more sleep. Maybe it's food. Maybe it's movement. Maybe it's connection. Maybe it's quiet time. Maybe it's a doctor's appointment. Maybe it's healthier boundaries at work. Maybe it's simply an evening where you stop trying to over optimize yourself. Don't overhaul your life this week. Just notice it. And if you have an autoimmune disease, I especially want you to hear this. A diagnosis can become an identity incredibly quickly. I know for almost 2 decades, I've had the letters MS, multiple sclerosis attached to my medical history. But I am not MS, and my entire body is not explained by MS. That distinction matters. If I assume every symptom is MS, I might miss something else. If I assume nothing is MS, I could ignore something important. So I've learned to live in right here, in the middle of it all. Pay attention, learn, ask questions, advocate for yourself. Use lifestyle as a powerful support and use medical care appropriately. There is no trophy for doing chronic illness perfectly. You don't need to prove how sick you are, and you don't need to prove how healthy you are. You're allowed to just be a human. Human beings are learning how to care for their bodies every day, and you're one of us. So let's keep doing it. I want to talk about for just a minute why I think this matters so much for women. It matters for men too. If you're here, thank you for being here. I love you guys too. I'm so glad that you're here. But for this little section, I want to speak specifically to women. Men, stay. Don't leave, right? This is good for you too, because I bet you know some women. Women are constantly being told to become something, okay? Smaller, younger, more productive, more organized, more successful, more attractive, right? More relaxed. Somehow, while doing all of the above, and then wellness culture can pile on another layer on the top of that. Perfect morning routine, perfect supplements, perfect body, perfect hormones, perfect skin, perfect diet, perfect nervous system. No, no, no. I'm not interested in creating another impossible standard for you, my friend. I'm interested in helping women understand themselves better because I think knowledge can replace a lot of shame. When you understand that your body requires nourishment, you stop being proud of starving it. And when you understand that recovery is physiological, it is. It's physiological. You stop treating rest as weakness. When you understand aging, you stop interpreting every wrinkle as a failure. When you understand chronic illness, you can advocate for yourself without allowing the diagnosis to become the entirety of who you are. And when you understand fasting, you can use it as a tool instead of turning it into punishment. That's the kind of health conversation I want to have with you here. So let's make a paradigm shift. Maybe the goal isn't to control your body harder or better. Maybe the goal is to develop a better relationship with it. Think about the difference. Control says, why won't you cooperate? And relationship says, what do you need? Control says, I need you to look younger. Relationship says, I want to care for the skin my body has as I age. Control says, I'm exhausted, but I'm going to push myself through it. And relationship asks, why am I exhausted? Control says, I ate too much. I need to fast. I'm not going to have any dinner because my lunch was not good. A relationship says, would fasting support my body right now? Or does my body actually need additional nourishment? Control says, I hate this body. And relationship says, this is the body carrying me through my life. That's the shift I'm making. And I think it's bigger than wellness. For me, it's spiritual too. I believe my body is a gift from my creator, from God, not because it's perfect. Mine clearly isn't. I have MS. My body has limitations. It changes. It's aging. But stewardship doesn't mean obsessing over something. It means caring for what you've been entrusted with. And that's how I want to approach my health. So, what I wish I could tell a 21-year-old version of me, waiting to understand what was happening to her body, mm, I don't think I'd give her a giant health protocol. I would tell her, you're going to learn your body. You're going to question things constantly. You're going to make some mistakes. You're going to try things that don't work and you're going to change your mind about things. You're going to learn that medicine has value and limitations. And you're going to learn that lifestyle has enormous value and limitations. You're going to discover fasting and you're going to change how you eat. You're going to care about vitamins and you're going to become a health coach and a nutritionist and you're going to You're going to do all these things and you're going to learn so much and you're going to raise children and you're going to get older. And one day you're going to sit in front of a camera and talk about the disease you once feared would take your future from you. And you're going to tell somebody else, pay attention to your body without becoming afraid of it. I think that's what I needed to hear. So if you've been feeling exhausted lately, if your brain feels just foggy, if you feel overstimulated, if you've been pushing yourself with caffeine and motivation and wondering, why isn't it working? If you're dealing with autoimmune disease, if you're approaching 40, 50 or 60 or beyond and realizing your body is changing, don't reduce yourself to a viral diagnosis. Don't assume it's just cortisol. Don't assume it's just your hormones. Don't assume you're lazy. And don't assume every symptom is just stress. And please don't assume everything can be fixed with a supplement. No. What I need you to do is get curious. Your symptoms are information. Sometimes that information tells us we need rest. Sometimes food. Sometimes movement, sometimes connection, sometimes better habits, and sometimes it tells us we need medical care. Learning the difference is part of learning ourselves. That's why I want You Are Worth It Health to be here and to do for you. It's not to help you become perfect, not becoming 20 again or punishing ourselves into health, but learning to care for our bodies, our minds, and our spirits so that we can actually live the lives we've been given. If you are new here, I'm Rebecca. I'm a health coach, a nutritionist, a mom, a woman approaching 40, and I've been living with multiple sclerosis for about 2 decades. We talk about so much: fasting, nutrition, vitamins, autoimmune disease, healthy aging, skincare, and the very real process of trying to take care of yourself in an imperfect life. And if that sounds like the kind of conversation you've been looking for, my friend, I'm here. Let's talk. Subscribe and stay with me. And like I mentioned earlier, I did write a couple books, Finally Understand Multiple Sclerosis, because I wanted to put so much of what I've learned about MS into one place. So I did. And I wrote the fasting protocol. I don't have it in paper yet, but it's an ebook. You can get it for like $8. It's so cheap and it's so valuable. You'll go a lot deeper reading the books into the ways that I think about fasting, physically, mentally, and spiritually. And I'll put both of them below, along with URworthitHealth.com, which is my website. I'd love to have you visit. And if you've been following my skincare journey and want to explore the Jafra products I've been using, I will leave my mom, Patricia's Jafra consultant link below. She's been part of that world for 50 years, which is why Jafra is part of this channel and part of my lifelong journey before it appeared on this channel. But before you leave, I want you to answer one question in the comments. What has your body been trying to tell you lately? Not what your diagnosis is necessarily or what diagnosis you think you have, but what has your body been trying to tell you lately? Not even like what supplement you think you need, but what have you actually noticed? Because maybe the first step isn't fixing everything. Maybe it's finally paying attention. My friend, you're worth taking care of. I will see you in the next video. Click on it right here.